Well, happy Tackle Tuesday, folks. Today, we're going to be talking about the summer transition here in Minnesota. What I'm going to be throwing the next few weeks. Got this dude on one just now. Let's talk about it. Alrighty, folks. Welcome back to another episode here of Tackle Tuesday on Joe Bob's Bass. I am Joe Bob. You just saw me catch that fish here. That was on one of my absolute all-time favorite summer lures, the Googan Slim Shake Worm, 8-inch. And I've just got this little Texas rigged 3/0 extra wide gap hook. I believe this is a 16th ounce bullet weight, so not a lot of weight. Definitely could go bigger. This is from Naco. Found them on TikTok. 1/16 ounce tungsten weights, very, very solid quality. And then I've got just this green, blue, silvery kind of color there on that 8-inch Slim Shake from Googan. All right. This lure, you can fish it weightless. I like to throw it just like this, like I just showed you, with a little bit of a weighted hook or a Texas rigged weight on there. Real simple. And then I just take it along the bottom. Let me readjust this a little bit. There we go. I just work that thing real slow. Just shaking my rod tip just a little bit and dragging that thing. And give it a pause every once in a while. Maybe a little pop, a little hop. This is great. When you rig it weedless like this, obviously you can get deep in the pads. You know, you can upsize that weight and do some punching with it. But this worm, it's not a huge worm, but it's a good size. And even just with that 3/0 hook, they will gulp that thing up and you will not miss fish. A lot of times those bigger worms, you know, you've got to worry about letting them really eat it. I really don't seem to have many problems. The only drawback that I do have with this Googan soft baits, they make some great bait, but Googan baits, they don't last super long, right? They're not Z-Man, they're not the Elastec stuff. You know, you're going to catch a fish or two or three and probably have to change to a new plastic, but that's all right because they really do work and they catch fish like crazy. So let's see if we can get maybe another one on this Slim Shake here before we move on to our next bait. One of my favorites for the summertime. Absolutely terrific. I love these kind of blue, pumpkin green colors. They just seem natural enough that they get bit a lot. So next up on the list, we've got a bait that I've already made lots and lots of videos on. This is the Yamatunki by Gary Yamamoto. All right, this is the small 2.5, I believe, inch version. Maybe it's 3 inches. I'm not 100% certain. And again, in this kind of green pumpkin color with that little bit of gold and black flake in there, this thing is an absolute killer. This thing is great too. Again, 3/0 weightless rig, extra wide gap hook. And this thing is so cool because it's just a little kind of a scat bait, I would call it, right? With a little kind of a nubby kicker tail on the back of it. And that allows you to really skip this thing up under docks, really kind of maneuver it around cover, branches, trees, logs in the water, pads, all that kind of stuff without any trouble of getting snagged. Obviously, it's a smaller, more finessey presentation. It's not a big 8-inch worm, just a small little 2.5-inch, 3-inch scat bait, and these sunnies are trying to demolish it right now. But yeah, guys, this bait is really fantastic. Even with the weightless, you can see I just kind of flicked out a little cast there. That thing goes nice and far, really maneuverable, really easy to work in the water. You can just let it sink. Oftentimes I will get hit on these just on that initial fall, but I have, you know, plenty of times on the retrieve, bringing it back nice and slow, kind of off the bottom here and there, gotten bit. So ooh, had a weed there. I thought it was maybe a fish. So there is number 2 for me for this summer, the Yamatunki by Gary Yamamoto. Like I said, I almost always am rigging that weedless. These little 2.5, they actually did come out with a larger, I think 4.5-inch version as well. So check that out, guys. One of my absolute favorites, soft plastics for the summer. And last but not least, the one that has just been doing me dirty all year and will continue all year. Ouch, as I get a hook tip in my finger there. Ouch, ouch, ouch. It's the cheat code. Throwback baits, baby, and it's called the cheat code for a reason. This thing, you definitely want a swim bait rod or something just a little bit heftier, but I'm just throwing it here on a 7'1", medium heavy, fast action bass X, and you can definitely still get bit on it, as I did this last weekend throughout the tournament. It really is just a super, super solid bait, guys. There's so many ways that you can work it, and it is a cheat code, man. It is a cheat code to fishing. It will get bit time and time again. I don't know what it is about this bait. It's just super erratic. You can walk it on the top of the water. You can crank it down a foot or two, and it just really seems to know how to get the fish's attention. As I get a little backlash here, of course, why wouldn't I? That does not sound good. So you can crank it down, work it real fast, almost like a crankbait, and try to get that crankbait bite. Hopefully you guys can see that in the water at least a little bit. Super nice tail kick on there. So guys, those are my top 3 baits for this summer. Kind of a Texas rigged weighted big worm. Love throwing those. Obviously a Senko is kind of the honorary mention today, right? Senkos in the summertime really do seem to get bit as well. And then I've got the yamatunki by Yamamoto Baits. And then of course my favorite little swim bait here, the cheat code from Throwbacks. That will be getting me by a lot. Obviously there's plenty of other baits that I'm going to be throwing that we can talk about here in weeks to come. But on my next outing here this coming weekend, these are kind of the 3 that I'm definitely going to be rocking. Probably have a chatterbait with some kind of real big trailer on it as well. And that's really all you need, plain and simple. So, well, folks, there you have it. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you guys next week here again on Tackle Tuesday. Hopefully get a lot of fishing in this weekend. And yeah, stay tuned for more to come. Plenty of stuff in the works, guys. A lot of trips planned. A lot of things going on the channel here. So take care. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment on what your favorite summertime lure is, especially if you're here in Minnesota. Would love to hear it. Would love to give it a try. And we will see you guys next week.